So for a while I've been building OpenBB apps, and one of the ways I've become really fast doing so is with AI agents. And these all started because we have this repository, which is called Backends for OpenBB. And essentially what happened is created this getting started, and then I created this reference backend. And at the beginning I started having just a few different types of widgets because prospects and clients were asking, okay, how do I do this specific widget? How do I add this one? And so I started like maintaining these as a template of different like widget, different configurations. So you set like stale time, refetch interval, but also things like input parameters and trading view shards, high shards, plotly, different configurations, watch list. And this became super helpful when it was time to build with AI coding agents, because I could basically provide this folder and say, use this as a reference, and now I want to create this specific widget, and it would figure out, because there was enough pieces, like basic pieces, that you would understand how to combine them together, right? And I was able to do like really cool things, like all these apps, the DTCC ones, like were built using that like framework, and so it was really great for that. And yeah, this is pretty much like one shot at it, which was like super impressive, even the watermarks and things like that. And then skills became popular, and that was awesome, because I was like, okay, so now I can go a bit further than just providing the templates. I can put the methodology in. And so I created this folder where basically there's the skills, and there's here the app builder, where basically it has this pipeline of the sequence, which basically is based on how I was creating these apps. And there's an interview stage, there's the widget design, there's the layout, which the CLI provides as an ASCII, what does the dashboard look like, and then it generates the plan, and then it builds, and then it validates. Validation is basically testing against the apps.json and the widgets.json of the workspace to see if the specs are correctly written, and then finally tests. So it uses actually the Chrome extension from Claude Code to analyze whether the app created within OpenBB is correct or not, which was basically a way to close the feedback loop. And so this was great, and I've been using it for some time. And actually, I made it like available on this skills.sh from Vercel, and so you can actually use this command to install it. But the main thing was like, okay, it still pushed me to be out of the workspace. So I was like, what if I could do all of that same process, but within the workspace? What if I could spawn a Claude Code session, build the backend either or locally that would provide me the final like implementation files that then I could host somewhere else, or maybe even on a specific like machine directly. And that's kind of the idea I wanted to run with. And so this demo was to show it working. and so let's see what I did. So basically I have this custom agent here called OpenBB App Builder Agent, and I selected financial data sets as a source, let's say. This is from Virat, and I really like his API, very clean, very easy to use, and so I recommend you guys checking it out. And for the time being, it's perfect for me because it doesn't really require an API key for specific tickers, and so that's why I'm using it. And so let's say that I'm going to say, okay, let's create an OpenBB app that has 3 widgets for financial data. The widgets are income statements, cash flow, balance sheet, and they should come from, and then we're gonna copy this link, we're gonna paste it here. Okay, this is great. What else can I say? Oh, I want the widgets to be grouped together by their ticker, and the group can be group 1, and default the value to NVIDIA. What else can I say? In this case, the API key we are going to use for this is DTA YOLO. It doesn't matter because I'm using it for NVIDIA, so it's fine. Do I need something else? For the thumbnail of the app, use an image that you decide for financial data, something like that. And then finally, let's copy these, which is like how to process the data, just to make it a bit better. Here's an example of how to get the API for the financial data. Then we paste and then we enter. And so now we are basically like ends off. And so I'm gonna let it cook, and then I'll be back. But you can see here is basically starting a session. The session ID. Session ID is actually important because if it stops in the end and I'm like, okay, didn't do this correctly, it will be able to carry on from the last session ID. It starts the Claude session. It actually tells you here in which folder we are doing this. It tells you that it's not a continued session, that is fresh one. It reads the files that we can use as an example, the reference backend, which is the one that we said earlier. And then now it starts looking, is it here? Yeah, web fetch. It starts looking online what it needs to do in order to carry the data. So I'm not, yeah, let's just wait. This takes usually like, I don't know, a few minutes. All right, so this is actually where it gets interesting. And what we're seeing here, I'm gonna actually avoid touching. So is Claude Code actually controlling the browser? And so you can see actually the orange surroundings. So this is Claude controlling it, and it should now click on Connect Backend. Perfect. Now I actually don't know what is the name of the app that is gonna call. I assume like financial data sets, financial data, financial app, financial statement. That's fair. Endpoint URL, I think, is 8001 by default. Yep, it's running locally. But this could, like, you could connect the agent to basically deploy the website, for instance, you know? That's like the crazy part. And so the point of this video is actually to show the possibilities. But the main reason I'm doing this over just the coding agent is because then I benefit from everything that we built on the workspace. So you get all the right, like, single sign-on, you get all the permissioning. If I have like different people on the team that have different access to the data, I can select who has access to this app, but also at the widget level, who has access to the widget. And like you just get all that distribution like fixed, which is amazing. And then also like in terms of like the building process, imagine that is all pointing to the same machine. Anyone that has access to this agent could basically tweak the backend by looking into the front end result, essentially, which is awesome. Yeah, look, he created that image, and that must be a common one because you can see that the fixed income market has a similar thumbnail, but it doesn't have access to that one, so he didn't figure out that that one already existed, which is, I think, kind of cool. This is mind-blowing. Yeah, this is, I mean, it's literally what I asked. This is crazy. This is insane. Yeah. That's it. I'm not sure if he's gonna do anything else now. Let me see if there's more messages, but he basically did it. Yeah, this is the data from financial data sets here. Looking at NVIDIA, the grouping looks that is fine. Yes, it's scrolling down. I think it's just double checking that the data is correct. And yeah, I just heard the stop notification hook that I have to know when Claude Code finishes. But yeah, maybe I could add here a complete message, but this is it. I mean, they are grouped together as I was expecting. I think if I use Tesla as a ticker, yeah. If we go on to like, I don't know, like let's do quarterly maybe. Yeah, here we go, quarterly results. Let's do 8. Yeah, let's do a bar chart of the total here. So yeah, this is wild in one prompt. So yeah, I think in this demo I showed what I wanted to show, which is basically that where things are heading, things might become really weird because you'll be able to have software from the software generate, like, fixing itself or improving itself, particularly if it's an API first product like ours is, where we are not like, we basically allow data to come in via API, and we are just the infrastructure interface really focused on the user experience. But yeah, this is insane. Wow. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show. Yeah, I hope you find this as interesting as I do, and thanks for watching. Okay, I just noticed I actually forgot something. So now that we have this app built, and we can see here everything that happened, and actually we should be on this app builder agent. I forgot that I can ask what were the files needed to spin this backend, because I mean that was the whole point here, and so I didn't end up showing how that happened. Sorry. Okay, this is perfect, exactly what I wanted. Give me the files, or give me the code that you used to create. Give me the final. Give me the final code that builds these financial statements application, please. And so it should actually continue the previous session. Let's see. Yep, it continues the previous session, which is a really cool feature. So it doesn't lose the previous progress and understands if it has to create a new one or not. And we should expect at least a main.py file or similar. I'm not sure if he's going to create individual widgets.json or apps.json. Maybe he creates it like in code into that Python file, and then just as the endpoint for them. So yeah, let's see what it tells us. All right, let's see what we got here. It's so cool. Okay, it separated them. That's pretty neat. Let's see. Oh wow. Okay, did I get repeated information? Here's the complete code for the financial statements application. Okay, financial statements app, the Python file, the application and fast API application setup. Yeah, course. Yep. API key, the API base URL. Oh wow, he picked up on the widget. This is like a decorator that we usually utilize, so that we have the configuration of each widget right next to where the data is being rendered from. We have the endpoints here, the widgets.json and the apps.json, and then we have these widgets being rendered here, where we can see the value defaults to NVIDIA, the label is sticker, the name is sticker, the grid date, income statement, and then the options here, which are like hard-coded options, and then here the name of each of the columns and their width also specified, and then the endpoint for get income statement with the parameters that defaults to, and then how we query the data, which is actually what we sent on that Python example, then the second widget, and then the third widget. Balance sheet, yeah, balance sheet is here. And then this is the resulting, oh no, and he has here, yeah, exactly, because if you run that file, then it will spin it like this, so you don't need to run it as the UV corn, you can just Python main py. And then this is the final widgets.json, which I think is what was verified that it works, which is correct. And then the apps.json, which we just tested and we know it works. There's no tabs here, so it's actually a bit easier. Group 1, which we can see here with the group 1. And yeah, this is awesome. And then it tells me the requirements. Fast API, UV corn, and request. That was it. It tells me how I can get there. So that was a cool thing that I've done, which is I have an apps folder within that repo on my agent that's Claude CLI access, and then I say what's the name of the app, and then here is the date time. I don't know why it's saying 15:30 is like 8:30. So yeah, maybe it's not EST, but anyway. And then connect. Yeah, that's it. And then I don't know why, for some reason, like, yeah, it just repeated the answer, but it doesn't matter. Like now, like what I would actually do is I could actually copy these and create these files. Actually, this one is not even needed. This one is just like an artifact from, actually, sorry, the apps.json is needed. Yeah, we are reading it here. the abstract.json is needed. But the widgets.json is actually not, because the widgets.json gets created by these artifact, essentially, here. It basically generates that widgets, which gets appended because that's how the widget decorator is defined here. And then, yeah, we can see here it's being added. And then that's what renders the widgets.json endpoint in the end. Yeah, this is awesome. So you could now, like, let's say, just be interacting here and send this, copy this and send to someone, or like to host it. And now you have an agent that builds OpenBB apps within OpenBB. So yeah, now it's the end. Bye.